please.
Jordan Brewer,
Here.
Brett Wallace,
Here.
Clark Beard,
Here.
is absent, Andy Bailey,
Here.
Second, Dan Sheets,
Yes, here.
staff members Liz Stitzel and Pat Ballard also.
Okay, next item is the minutes from the previous meeting. Do we have any changes, amendments?
I do not have anything. I
No.
move we approve the minutes as written.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We have one item under old business that was continued from last time. That's application CC 2023-00724.
Is that mine?
The petition
No, I always
of
have to do
Dolgan
it.
Corp. LLC.
I have one like that.
Yeah,
My
so
dad
by
taught me to do that.
way of an update, this was continued last time to give it a chance to go back to the town of Mulberry for conversation, which it did. They met initially and had a fairly
You can use it for
well-attended
tonight, no
public
problem.
meeting. And then
Must
came
have left
back
it
and
in
had
here.
a sort of a brainstorming work session with the developer. And ultimately, the town submitted a letter of support for the rezoning, but they are requesting the following commitments be added in what's sent to the county commissioners. First, that a privacy fence be placed on the east side of the property. Second, that an east-west sidewalk be constructed from West Street to the edge of the rezoned property on the south side of State Road 38. Third, that the owner and developer signs a voluntary annexation waiver with the town of Mulberry so that the town may voluntarily annex the rezoned real estate into the corporate limits during the waiver period. And finally, that the developer must build infrastructure sufficient to acquire water and wastewater utilities from the town of Mulberry. So that's the agreement that the developer and the town came to, and the town is requesting these be added as commitments, which the board would follow, that. Then what would end up happening is after this meeting, but before it gets sent to the county commissioners, the applicant and owner of the land, they'll actually have to sign a document that authorizes us to record those commitments as soon as it were to be adopted by the county commissioners. And we literally hold that piece of paper in hand, and if the commissioners don't adopt it, then no big deal. But if they do adopt it, we walk straight up to the recorder's office, and once it's recorded, it becomes binding on not just that landowner, but all future landowners, unless or until someone came back through rezoning. So if you're, I've got a couple copies of that letter, if anybody wants to be able to read through it or look at it or reference it, but that was the town's feedback to the Area Plan Commission, and they very much appreciated the Plan Commission giving them the opportunity to have those conversations.
When they talk about to acquire water and sewer, is that extended out further? Are you talking about that?
Yeah, basically, they're gonna have to run their line. North side of 38.
Okay.
Constellation. Get the permits.
So that, they're just going under state highway right away.
That would only be sufficient for their property, or are you looking at future use?
For right now, that'll be just them. West Street. So, yeah, subdivision would probably.
Okay, thank you.
On the sidewalk, will that be able to be constructed on, in
In the state right away.
the
yep.
state right away?
Like the other sidewalk is that comes up to, there's just one parcel where there's no sidewalk between this development and the nearest town sidewalk. So they've agreed to fully connect, not just, they're required by ordinance to put sidewalks on their own property, but then you'd have this couple 100-foot gap. So the developer has agreed to run that in the right of way to match the rest of the sidewalk so they connect fully.
As long as they can do it in the right of way, they don't have, the town has the power of eminent domain, they don't.
Correct.
So they can't go on other people's property
So all
to
of
do
that sidewalk is in the right of way, there's no expectation they would need
Okay.
to align this sidewalk further south than the existing.
Okay.
I believe it's
That's the same letter.
Yeah.
pavement, so that, on the other side, this is the side.
I doubt it's 50 feet from it's not gonna be 50 feet from the pavement. That would be 130-foot right of way, or 140-foot
I
right
can
of way.
measure it for you, this is not easement right away, this is fee simple right away.
Okay, while we do that, maybe we'll have the petitioner, if they want to present or have anything to add that the board needs to hear.
Good evening. I'm Tom Cowan with Zaremba out of Cleveland, Ohio, the developer. There was wisdom in deferring a month from our prior meeting here. We ended up with a very good meeting in the town of Mulberry. Met some very nice people, had a lot of good comments, and we gained quite a bit by being there. Town council was very on point with us. The list of 4 different items, we absolutely have no objection to meeting those. They're all good comments. One of the things we did here, we may have heard it here, but I know we heard it in Mulberry, is what is the difference between a Dollar General and a Dollar General market? And I just wanted to circle back on that comment so that we all get a little bit better understanding. I got some pictures from Dollar General, directly from them, an example of what fresh foods they plan to put in DG Market stores. And I wanted to share that with the group. I got a couple copies here we can pass around. Did the same in Mulberry. There's a lot of interest in what products they could expect. This isn't exactly how it'll look in Mulberry, but it's a very good approximation of what kind of products they'll have. Again, we were in front of a large group in Mulberry, and I think we have, I won't speak for the town, but I think we have a lot of support from the residents there. I think a lot of people are looking forward to the Dollar General market, and we're glad to see that. As to tonight, we hope we have your support as well in the rezoning. That's just the next step in this process. We're not at the finish line, not even close. There's other meetings and other reviews and approvals that still need to happen. The design of our Dollar General still has to occur. We'll still tweak the site plan a little bit as well. Drainage Board will have a say-so in how we outline drainage. Lot split is still on the agenda as well. So there's other approvals that will come, but tonight's about the rezone. What I would like to do is take back to Cleveland an approval on the rezone. What that does, it's a milestone on our behalf. We can then kick off construction drawings. We could start paying the architect and the engineer to develop the actual construction drawings, which are going to be needed for the next approval steps that are coming up. Without a rezone, I can't commit to the cost of doing that, but that's why it's important tonight to get through that step.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
No.
Anything? Okay. I'll open it up if there's anyone else that would like to speak on this case. Okay, seeing none, I'll go to board discussion, or if there is none, if you feel like the answers have been shared tonight, then I will entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to, we're doing a rezone, right? So I want to favorably certify this to the commissioners with those conditions.
4 commitments.
Yeah, the 4 commitments.
Okay.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. If we could have a roll call vote, please.
Just for clarification for the record, the 4 commitments would be the ones listed by the town of Mulberry in the letter they submitted back to the board.
Correct.
And Clark was my motion, and Ms. my second.
Andy, second.
Perfect, thank you. All right, Jordan Brewer,
Yes.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Clark Beard,
Yes.
Sandy Bailey,
Yes.
and Jen Shi.
Yes.
Right, so, got a favorable recommendation to the county commissioners, so what'll happen, we have to pull together some paperwork. We're gonna need to set up, paperwork for the commitments that'll need to be signed. We'll reach out, and have that all assembled, we'll pass it on. Given where we're at timeline, I would expect this will go to the commissioners at their next meeting, which will be 2 weeks from now on, is it a Monday meeting?
17th, I think. Now, I will say, it will be hard for 18th, Monday the 18th. I would be surprised if we will make a decision without it have gone to Drainage Board first.
That's
So,
understandable.
typically it goes to Drainage Board before it comes to the area plan.
Not for rezoning.
Not
For
for
the
rezoning.
development plan, it has to. When they get
Okay.
to the development plan stage, then we won't accept an application until they have a drainage board approval. But a rezoning could theoretically be any use permitted in the zoning district. So we don't typically require a drainage review before rezoning. But certainly if the commissioners had a concern or wanted to do that, that would be within your prerogative to continue it and work with it. It's
I would
just-
say that will probably,
So,
be the
that's just an
direction.
expectation for you guys.
okay. Are you,
I'm going to excuse myself.
okay.
now.
So Mr. Sheets is leaving.
Thank you.
He has another commitment for the record. Okay, we will move on to our public hearings. The first one is application CC 2023-00831. Diancino Ventura Maranchel. Is that? Yep. If you could take us through this one, please, Liz.
Right, yes, this is also in Mulberry, and this is a request for primary approval for a replat for lots 63 and 64 in the Susanna Earhart's edition. These lots and everything surrounding them are zoned R3, which is medium density residential. Basically, that's the common district you see in towns that has sewer and water supply. So these are on the north side of West First Street between South Elm and Hobson Street. The front parcel has an existing dwelling on it that was built in 1910, and it's been undergoing extensive remodeling to give it a more modern appearance. The rear parcel is in common ownership with the front parcel, does not have a separate house on it. Together, the parcels meet the minimum lot size square footage for the town of Mulberry. But in order to separate those parcels into buildable lots, the petitioner did apply for and receive a variance approval from the Board of Zoning Appeals on March 28th of 2023. Then they came back and talked to the town of Mulberry, which gave a favorable recommendation. Well, sorry, I got that out of order. They gave a favorable recommendation before that for the variance request, knowing that it was then gonna come to the Plan Commission for a replat. So in the simplest terms, when you see that map on the first page, the 2 lots are oriented east-west. In the simplest terms, they're just turning 90 degrees to orient north-south. So that the existing house then goes deep instead of wide, and a second house can sit next to it along First Street instead of being back off an alley where there's not good access to be buildable. So there's a picture there that Kat took showing the upscale remodel on the existing dwelling and then where the proposed new lot will sit next to it. The petitioner is requesting primary plat approval. If the application is approved, as is stated, lot 63 and 64 will be repositioned to run north and south instead of their current position. The surveyor's office has stated the drainage board has approved the request. The town of Mulberry has approved serving the proposed lot 2 with utilities for a second dwelling. Utilities are already provided to the existing dwelling on the proposed lot 1. Sidewalk will be installed on lot 2 when it is developed. Lot 1, the developer has already placed the sidewalk, which you can see in the picture there, is new. The enforcement clause in the covenants is included, however, we did have them reduce that from the normal 1320 down to 400 foot, because this is inside a town, so it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense for literally the entire town to be able to enforce the covenants. In terms of principles and standards of design, the restricted covenants are being reviewed by Jay for legal soundness and proper preparation. There is language requiring the sidewalk installation for lot 2 that's been added into those covenants, and noting that it's the responsibility of each lot owner for the maintenance and upkeep of those sidewalks. And then in terms of the proposed name of the subdivision, because it's being replatted as part of Susanna Earhart's addition, only the layout is changing, not the name. Consequently, staff would recommend to grant primary approval, subject to the covenants being revised as needed for Jay's satisfaction if there's anything still outstanding.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Is the petitioner or representative here that would like to speak to the board?
Yeah, Seth Johnson with 40th Parallel Surveying. Yeah, not much to add to the staff report, just to reiterate kind of that the lots are platted east-west. I believe my assumption looking at the plat was that they assumed a road would be platted to the west, but then another subdivision was platted to the west, and that made the northern lot surrounded by alleys. So this is simply just turning the lots 90 degrees to get them both road frontage. Makes more sense, and that's kind of all we're doing.
Okay. Any board questions for him?
Makes
All right,
sense.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this case? No? Okay. Jay, are you comfortable with the covenants, or?
The only thing they have a statement in here that I think is an overstatement. It says, clear title to the land contained in this plat is guaranteed. Any encumbrance or special assessment are explained here as follows: none. And that then it's colon none, meaning that there are none. It's typical for, in a plat, for it to recite that the owner, that the person doing it has fee simple title. That's different than saying that there are no encumbrances. That would mean there were no easements. Or special assessments. Well, there are probably ditch assessments. So it's an overstatement, and it really ought to not be in here.
That has been taken out.
Has it now?
Yeah,
On this,
I think
on the other
August,
one,
August 28th is when we revised that, I
Yeah,
think. But
yeah,
so,
okay.
then we just totally removed that whole sentence and just.
Good.
Liz, in the file, there, I have the revised, I copied off, yeah, right there, that has the revised,
Okay.
and that was taken.
Yeah, it was right underneath the lot 2, must have sidewalks statement, and then it's now gone.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Nothing else? I'll open it up to board discussion, comments, or a motion if please so be.
I don't have anything to add.
Makes sense to me. We're gonna add a lot to the town without actually making the town bigger, so.
Yep. Motion from anyone?
Where's my key card?
I move to approve the application CC 2023-00831 to grant primary plat approval, subject to the covenants.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call, please.
It's like Grant.
Yeah, great.
Grant.
Okay, I thought so. All right. Jordan Brewer,
Yes.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Clark Beard,
Yes.
Andy Bannon,
Yes.
0, primary plat approved, so you get that revised into a secondary, and when you're ready.
Okay, moving on to application 2023-00850, the petition of Adam and Laura Archibald.
So this is, again, a minor subdivision, 2-lot minor subdivision, requesting primary approval. This one is owned agriculturally, as is all the surrounding land. The petition site consists of 3 acres. It's a first split off a 74.24 acre parent tract on the west side of South 1000 East between 838 and the Boone County line in section 17 of Kirkland Township. The petitioners would like to create approximately a 3 acre lot in order to build a house for the petitioners to reside. The petitioners currently live in a house that is south of the petition site. The proposed new lot will abut to the existing lot and extend to the north where there's floodplain along the edge of it. The proposed new lot is at the eastern edge of Kirkland Township, and right as it crosses over into Sugar Creek. A special exception was granted by the Board of Zoning Appeals on May 23rd of 2023 for a non-farm dwelling in its general location. So you can see on the second page kind of how the floodplain orients where they propose the lot to be, and then some pictures showing the layout of that. You can see the other home there as well. Neither the new home site nor the existing one are inside of any legal watershed. The petition site itself and the area surrounding it are currently cropped as farm ground. And it's all one soil type, which is actually kind of unusual. Miami Crosby silt loam, which is a good soil type for development on Table J. So in terms of analysis, the petitioner is requesting primary plat approval for Archibald Addition, which is a 2-lot minor subdivision. The standard rural development protection language is included in the covenants. The surveyor's office stated that the drainage board has approved the request. The health department has actually already issued a septic permit for the proposed lot, which is lot 1. And lot 2 is existing with an existing dwelling and a working septic on it. County Highway has no objection to a drive on the new lot, and the enforcement clause in the covenants is included and can be initiated by any adjacent landowner within a quarter mile. There was one question that was brought up in staff and attorney review, and that was the layout of the lot relative to the creek. The way the lot line's been drawn, there's a really narrow, unusable strip of land that's not owned by a house lot, but it also doesn't appear to be farmable or usable in any way, and it's left between the new lot line and the creek. So the board may want to discuss whether that northern lot line should be made terminus with the creek center line, or if it makes sense as it is, or I suppose if it should be moved the other way to make a larger space that you can actually get in and out of. In UDO 703.09, lot design does have some general guidelines, although it doesn't specifically address this exact situation. But the two most relevant sections are 703.09A, which says the lot arrangements shall be such that all lots shall have satisfactory building sites properly related to topography and surrounding land and uses. That first part of that. And then you do have 703.09D, which talks about sidelines should be at right angles to street lines. But it then says, unless a variation from this rule will provide a better layout. So the question is whether that narrow strip that's left, makes any sense, whether that should stay at a right angle or whether that should move up so that you don't have this weird remnant that nobody can get to. So, other than that question, then it would move into principles and standards of design. So in terms of restrictive covenants, those were reviewed by Jay Moore for legal soundness and proper preparation. And Jay had noted some edits that needed to be corrected. Staff sent those to Ron Wary of Moses Surveying on the 24th of August, making him aware of those changes. In terms of subdivision name, there is no other name on the county recorder's record that has Archibald in it, so it would appear that's met. So consequently, staff would recommend to grant primary approval of the minor subdivision with the condition that the edits noted by Jay Moore are corrected to his satisfaction, and noting that the board should specify whether the northern lot line should remain as proposed at a 90-degree angle or be moved along the creek center line, or I suppose in some other way, to make more sense.
Okay, thank you, Liz. Ron, have anything you would like to add?
I did get the notice for Jay and be able to do this, but I don't have to know if I did.
Okay, board, any questions or comments for Ron?
Just wondering on this strip of land, is that what she's talking about right there?
I'm guessing.
From that angle, it looks like maybe they want to leave that with the farm so that there's access
believe
from
so.
the road to the field back behind.
I
Because
believe
it's a waterway.
It's, yeah, no, there's,
And
I don't think it's wide enough really to
I don't know.
get through there.
There's the creek center line and there's the lot line and there's
This
the,
is as wide
the
as
point where it
that
comes
is.
Well,
that's what
yeah.
Jason's concern was.
You know, if they don't farm that anymore, the whoever's farming it would probably have all the maintenance responsibilities of keeping it mowed and everything else.
So
I think if they chose it that way, that's probably the way it ought to stay.
is this the, clarify it to me, right here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only thing,
okay,
you don't
now
know
you've
how
got the
far
plat.
Jason's concern was,
Go.
Okay.
this is
You
the
know,
creek
it's
center
not
line,
that waterway,
here's where the
or
line is
are they
drawn
showing that
here.
line?
The farmer owns all the land around.
Sure.
And Jason's
what I'm
concern is
saying?
this is so narrow, it's well
No,
within
okay.
the 75
So it's
foot
not-
easement.
You
It's
think
not
their-
this
their property
line
line's stopping
that you,
where the
that's,
grass
like,
is?
there's a little blue
Oh,
line
you don't
here.
think, I couldn't tell
It's
from that.
It's the
Square.
northern
It's
line
square
being
grass.
square
It's okay.
versus
It's
Jay
coming a little
thought,
further.
wondered if it should follow the center line, you know, or I suppose one could argue move further south where it's out of the easement or there's more room, but that was the question.
Bottom line is if
For
that's-
clarification, is the line, the currently proposed property boundary stopping at where this grass is,
I
or
don't-
is it in
Where's
the
the bridge
grass?
at?
Maybe a wrong question, but I don't think so, because the easement here is 75 foot and comes out to here. The bridge,
What's 75 foot?
the
creek.
easement off
Easement
the
of
creek,
Creek.
There is none.
oh, you've
Yeah.
indicated a 75 foot on the plat.
Well, the creek would have a 75-foot easement.
It's Stoker, it still shows, which
It
is,
says Stoker Legal Ditch.
Yeah, a legal ditch
Oh,
would have
that's what
150.
that would have helped. And-
Okay, let's
All
start
right,
over.
we haven't seen this one either.
Dan determined it was not a legal ditch.
Okay.
So there was no 75 foot right of way, and
Perfect.
he asked me to change that, so.
Yep, and you've added the floodplain.
So
which is
I don't
great.
know how many feet that is. That's probably enough to get in and out of there with farm equipment though, and go on back to the
Well,
field.
they own the whole farm around. and
Yeah,
everything,
they own down
and
here
also up
too.
north.
Yeah,
But I
know.
think Clark's looking into the future if they do not own it, or someone else moves into the house. I mean,
If
it-
if
Then
they,
who,
have they seen this?
I don't know.
They helped just lay it out.
That's why they wanted it laid.
And I think we ought to leave it that way.
I mean, ultimately, they have access to the east,
True.
to this
But-
farm parcel, so.
The only thing that I worried, one of the things I had concern about was
can you pass
it
that
doesn't
down?
create a drainage easement across lot 2 doesn't have drainage rights across lot 1. And lot 1 theoretically could be blocked from draining into the
Into the creek.
creek.
True. Yeah, because it currently doesn't have a outlet for the perimeter drain.
Yeah,
So, it probably needs an easement for the perimeter drain.
If it's not.
Yeah.
if they need a perimeter drain, but I would imagine they
It
do.
should be, we should have an inspects, let me look.
Cool. I'm good with that.
That can't be more than, 10 feet to the middle of the drain from the property line.
It actually says, this may be one of those rare ones, it says subsurface drainage not required, if that matches Ron's understanding. So this actually appears it does not require a perimeter drain, which may be why Drainage Board and everybody else didn't like that either. We don't see that very often in Clinton County at
I
all.
don't think I've ever heard of that.
So, I mean, that was my concern, that someday in the future, you could have it no longer in the family and somebody needs to get to that ditch and you would not have a right. But, I don't know that it's reason to deny it. It's just, I thought it would have been better to go to the ditch.
Gotcha. Okay. I'll open it up for anyone else, although I don't believe there's anyone else, so. With that, I'll bring it back to the board.
No, I don't have anything to add.
So,
This is different than
Aren't they different plats?
Yeah, the one Liz had first was
Yeah, the one
Yeah,
below
that's
is
This is
different.
the revised one.
I don't think I've seen it.
before the other came into the.
Yeah, he was giving that
this is
a
the new one. So, all right, with that, I guess it really comes
The
down
plat was
to,
attached to the covenants that I dropped off for AJ.
comes down to discussion of, that, whether that needs extended to the creek or if we're comfortable with the proposed boundary. I'm indifferent.
I'm comfortable with the proposed boundary that the petitioners have worked with the surveyor to lay it out. They would have thought of these things, I think.
If that's what they wanted, I would agree.
Yeah,
Okay, then I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move that we grant primary approval.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I
I'll
have-
second.
I have a second. Take a roll call, please.
Jordan Wright,
Yes.
Scott Miller,
Yes.
Mark Reed,
Yes.
Ernie Bailey.
Yes.
I need those back. Okay, next
Didn't we see this?
item under public hearing is application
They can't
CC
tell us, yep.
2023-00851, the petition of Silverthorne Estates LLC. If you could take us through that, please.
Yes, so this is, as you noted, Silverthorne Estates. This will look very familiar to you. This is up north of Rossville, and was platted, relatively recently in 2022. And the request is to vacate the previous plat and then give a primary approval to replat. Nothing is changing in the layout of the lots or the easements or the drainage arrangements. But I don't know if you recall the conversation from our previous plan commission meeting. This had much more extensive covenants than what we typically see. And there'd been some concern then that maybe some of them would be limiting in terms of the future of the lots. And the petitioner kind of discovered as he got the first house built, and started to market it, that there were a few items that were just causing him some headaches. And because of the fact that we don't allow administrative amendment of our plats, because of the agricultural protection language that we don't want somebody to remove, it means that it has to come back for a vacation replat. So the only thing changing is a couple items in the covenants. Jay had given some feedback, and the petitioner did send today a revised set of covenants that emailed on. And I think we printed a copy as well, just in case to you. So I haven't heard for sure if that works or not, but it was just a couple items.
Yeah.
So there's 7.96 acres, 6 lots, same as before. It's right there, just north of the corporate limits of the town of Rossville. There is a picture on the second page that shows you actually the house that's, looking across that, from 480 west, across that subdivision. In terms of principles and standards of design, as I noted, the covenants have gone back and forth and been revised. The subdivision name has already been approved. There's no reason to change that. So consequently, staff would recommend granting primary approval subject to the covenants meeting Jay's satisfaction. And I guess for a general note for the board, Nate can weigh in. I remember the one change was this originally did not allow any kind of detached garage, shed, or storage structure, which is proving to be a little bit challenging for buyers that would like to have somewhere external to store their stuff. And I believe he'll speak to it. There was one other change that he wanted to make in addition to that, is we kind of told him to make sure he looked over it so we don't have to come back to it again, for the same process. So you may ask, I don't remember off the top of my head, what that second change was, but staff would recommend approving the primary plat.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to tell us
I
those
just
changes?
screwed up. I thought it was in there that they could build an outbuilding or a garage, and then this wasn't, and that was just silly. An outbuilding, so we added that line. The other thing we deleted was there was a line in there where you couldn't park anything outside for more than 48 hours, and a couple other, it was just kind of a silly thing of just people being oversight. I just deleted the whole term out, like, don't worry about somebody parking the car.
Yeah, it's not Carmel.
It just oversight's on my fault. And I'm just trying to get it fixed.
Okay. Questions?
No, nothing.
All right. I'll entertain a motion if we have one, or comments or thoughts.
I don't think I have anything to add.
I see no issue with it. It's gonna make it less restrictive, so.
Yeah.
I move to grant primary approval
I'll second.
Roll call, please.
George Brewer,
Yes.
Jeff Owen,
Yes.
Clark Beard,
Yes.
Andy Bailey,
Yes.
and that's it. Keep looking for us.
You left her.
All right, so you're good, so you can go ahead and get your secondary too, because what's that? That'll be administrative.
Okay, we have any new business?
I don't think so.
Okay,
Okay, so I did
Meeting
talk
dates.
to,
sounds like we do.
Apparently we do.
just real
Meeting
quick, I
dates.
just wanna make sure y'all are aware of this. It will not affect October's APC meeting. We will be able to be in here. I talked to Stephanie, starting on October the 7th. So our meeting is October the 2nd, so it will not affect our
Paperwork says 3rd. I think it is the 3rd. I'll look.
We're all.
Yeah, 3rd.
for it.
3rd is Tuesday.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So, but it will, if we have any filings for November, in fact, our November meeting
Election.
is
Yep.
7th.
Yep. Okay.
That's all I wanted to point out there. Keep that in
Okay.
Now I think we have
mind.
No other.
So that would affect, Board of Zoning, one meeting, and then
October.
possibly our November.
No,
No.
they'll be done by the
Okay.
8th.
Yeah,
Okay,
just the October for BZA.
BZA November.
okay. Well, that's why I
I
said
do,
this,
though.
this for APC, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I do have, November 7th APC meeting. Stoney. I did get that reserved over there.
Gotcha.
I just have to wait until it gets a little closer, because there's, boards, for BZA, but APC, if we do have to relocate, we can relocate.
Very good.
But why, but if,
The city has the historical. They meets and they meet at 5:30 and we meet at 6, so
No,
if they
no.
have stuff docketed, then we can't.
no, my question is,
I'm not sure.
I thought we determined that the October meeting,
Yeah, the October meeting's safe,
but,
but no
okay,
November.
it's November.
November.
Yeah.
November.
Yeah.
We're talking about, what makes this confusing is we suddenly start talking about both BZA and APC in one conversation.
My bad, sorry.
October BZA. Yeah. We gotta figure out
I
how
know,
to
I
time
know,
this.
it seems odd for us to think about that in advance, but we have to because of the deadlines and making sure that notices are out and all that, so we gotta know where we're gonna be at.
And we don't wanna call you
Yeah.
guys like 2 days before going, what do you think? So,
Kat will let us know where it's at. That
Good.
simple.
Hopefully I don't get confused.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. Meeting's over. Thank you.
So, I guess I got a question.
See you guys later. I'm gonna
Does,
get some dinner. I'm hungry.
see you, Clark.
I'm gonna cook some pork steak, so I gotta light the charcoal.
There you go. That'll take a while if you're lighting charcoal.